because typically fights last longer. People are able to shield quicker, get behind cover, and because of all the different abilities, people can get in and out of fights. But I like that. Welcome back, everybody, to Beers and Boss Battles, episode 28. Crazy to think that we're here. We held true to our promises. We are back officially. Now we're on like a good weekly basis. We have a good thing going here. Just going to throw this out there for all of you guys that are joining us for the first time, or if it's a reoccurring thing for you, to make sure you go down, hit that like, hit that subscribe button so you guys can be notified when videos come out. We have a couple things to talk about. We're going to kind of rehash some of the things that we were talking about last week. Before all else, though, as per the usual thing that we have to do here, as our name states, it is Beers and Boss Battles. So we're going to get into the beer, right? And last time I took the lead, so I'm going to let the crowd know what you're drinking, Robbie.
All right, so it's that time of year for Oktoberfest beers. I actually just went to a place nearby called County Fair. It's a nice bar and grill kind of restaurant right in my town where I live. And I had an Oktoberfest, which I cannot remember what brand it was, but it was really good. So I picked up an Oktoberfest, but it was a totally different Oktoberfest. So what I got is called the Founders Oktoberfest. It's just a German-style Marzen beer. And this is what I picked up, and here it is. And I'll be honest with you guys. Typically I always, crack it open. It's kind of the first time I'm having it, or maybe it's something I've had before, but I'll still do it. I'll still crack it open and have a sip of it right now. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to lie. I did already have a couple of these. So I kind of feel like I was unfaithful a little bit. I feel a little bit guilty.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel that guilty. I'll be honest. But so here we go. I'll have it from the can, and then I'll have it from my glass. Here we go. Can first. All right, it's good. It's like a solid Oktoberfest. It's definitely like not one of the better ones that I've had. And I feel like such a moron right now that I can't remember the one that I had this weekend that was really good. But it's good. It's got that little bit of a sweetness to it. I'll be honest with you. I don't know a ton of like what ingredients are in a Marzen, like an Oktoberfest. I don't know what they do differently. But like I know Samuel Adams, they have like an Oktoberfest that I really like. There's all these different ones from like local brewers that I'll have. This one I would say compared to the other two I've had. So I had one on Friday, and then I had one like a week before that at a different restaurant. They were both better than this. So I'm going to say, not that I'm like super into numerical scores, but I did give one last week. So maybe I'll just stick with that theme and I'll give another one here. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's not bad. I would say if you want an Oktoberfest, it will deliver. It's an Oktoberfest, but it's definitely not one of the better ones that I've had. It's good, but it's not great. Nothing really stands out to me as like, oh, that's an exceptional flavor or an exceptional aftertaste. Like it's kind of just like it's good. And I want to say, I don't know what the price is because I bought it from a gas station. They definitely inflate the price like crazy. It's a 15 pack instead of a 12 pack. I think it was like $22. So I think like if you went to a normal like grocery store or a normal place to buy beer, this would probably be like $18 or something. So I would say considering it's a 15 pack for like an Oktoberfest, it's probably a pretty good deal, honestly. So it's good. I like it, but it's not, I wouldn't say it blows me away. Like if you're a big Oktoberfest connoisseur, you're probably not going to be impressed by it, but it's not bad.
What are you tasting in it?
I think my microphone just swapped. It said, I don't know why. I don't know how to describe it. I'm tasting kind of like a sweetness. I would almost say like maybe like a cinnamon kind of taste, but not really. I don't really know.
It's like a cinnamon, like a cinnamon.
A cinnamon. Yes. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe. I'll be honest with you. I'm very ignorant on Oktoberfest. I don't really know what's different about them. They're not super hoppy. They kind of almost have a little bit of a sweetness, but nothing like overbearing. But I don't know really what they do different with it to give it that kind of Oktoberfest taste. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm not that well versed in that area either. I'm actually not much of a seasonal beer drinker, as much as that might come as a surprise to people. And it's not for any reason in particular. I think it's just more like, I don't know. I feel like when I find a beer that I really like, I just kind of stick to that. And I also am not like, it's one thing if a beer's like semi-exclusive, or it's like hard to get your hands on. That's one thing, but when it's like seasonal stuff and it's like there for the moment and then gone, I don't know. It's like there's not much of an appeal for me because like then in that case, if I do end up really liking it, then I can't really have it. Like it's just or it's harder to come by. So
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but for me, it's kind of like that's what makes it more special because it's like, oh, it kind of complements the season and it is limited time, so you want to take advantage of it. So for me,
Mhm.
that's something I like. But what you were saying makes sense. I get it. I'll just go over real quick here. I just pulled it up on their website. Rich, malty, slightly sweet backbone. Ingredients to water, barley, and hops. So this is like talking about it debuting, but it's already out. Um, hmm,
You actually
yeah,
got a steal there because it says nine $9.99 for a 6 pack, and you said you got 15 for 22, so that's pretty good.
yeah. Actually, okay. I thought the prices were inflated at that gas station, and I guess they weren't. Because normally when I go there, like everything's more money, but yeah, it's actually a pretty good deal. Yeah,
They're
it's
stupid. They're stupid.
yeah. They messed up with this one. Maybe they didn't lower the price as much as they should have. I don't know, but
Are
um,
you old enough for this adventure?
I don't know. I mean, hopefully on YouTube you are old enough for this.
Yeah,
If
if you're
not,
not old
fast
enough,
forward to the video
just go to
game
the
talk.
video game part. Don't
Yeah,
listen to us. Don't drink beer.
yeah,
Beer's
dude, look at
bad.
this. I mean, look at the basic description here. Gorgeous
Copper here.
copper,
Yeah.
rich, malty, slightly sweet backbone. Like that's what I said. Slightly sweet, but it's not very strong. But like, I would like a little more detail. So I'm sorry, guys, that I can't provide more detail to you. If you're a big Oktoberfest guy, hop in the comments. Let us know. Educate us. That'd be awesome. I would love
Yeah.
that.
All right. Well, so for my beer today, I went with Throwback beer, Conehead.
Oh yeah.
That's an IPA, but it has the body of a Pilsner, as I've stated in previous ones. This one is a really good session beer. It's not too heavy for an IPA, and I say session because this will get you to where you need to be, if you get where I'm going with that. But it's also like not, because it has that Pilsner body, it's not super heavy. You can actually have a lot of these in succession, but like it's actually worth. So actually, I have a description for mine. All citra hopped IPA brewed with a Pilsner malt, an American wheat, pours a beautiful golden haze and is bright and juicy on the palate. This beer might just be your Rushmore.
Oh, very presidential.
It's as good as ever. I mean, it's like it is definitely one of the hitters. I think of it's a 5.7, by the way. If I didn't already say that, but um, this one's always been a pretty strong one for me. So no questions asked. I've always really liked this one. I'll keep it short and sweet for you guys. This is definitely a beer I would recommend if you're into IPAs or if you're into Pilsners, because it does really do a good job at having a perfect blend of the two. It's a little bit brighter than I think for a lot of Pilsner people, it's a little bit brighter than I think you'd be going for, but I still think you could get behind it and something worth trying. But for like the IPA people, it's definitely something you want to give a try to. Besides all
Yo,
that,
I'm gonna
what?
interrupt you real quick. So, update on the studio in back of you. Looks like I'm seeing a little progress. I see. What is that? A big light in back of you, or a
So,
speaker? What is that?
so that is a microphone
Oh,
with
wow.
there's like a foam casing on
See,
it.
guys, I thought my microphone was big. Damn.
Now I got to stand on that. Like, there's a whole thing. Yeah, that's another thing. I don't know how much I talked about it in last week's episode, but I've been allocating a lot of my time to doing recordings and stuff like that. I have like, I was working on a lot of stuff, so I really have had no time for anything
Instagram
else.
down below, guys.
Oh,
Instagram, put the Instagram down below, Troy. People can see your music on Spotify, on Instagram.
yeah. So
You're not on YouTube yet, right? Or are
no,
you?
I
Oh no,
have
you are on
everything.
YouTube.
Yeah, I have everything.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'll leave everything there for you guys if you guys are interested in maybe giving it a listen. Um, yeah, there's a lot of fucking really cool stuff I was able to put out in the past couple months. I had an album release like a little over a month ago now. We're working on getting a music video up. There's a
And you
lot of
would
stuff.
describe your music as really more hip hop, right?
Yeah,
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 hip hop. So I'm a
I know.
metal guy, so I typically not super into like that stuff, but even I like his music. His music's good. Give it a shot. See if you like it, man. There's some good stuff there. I like it. And he's always working on new stuff. He's always in the studio. If I'm not bothering him and we're playing games, this boy is in the studio. This is our, see, I'm pointing in the wrong direction. This boy here, he's a hard worker. He's always in the studio.
Well, so yeah, no, that's where a lot of my time's been spent. So that's actually a big reason why we haven't been as consistent with videos. I've been at like really just dedicating as much time as I possibly can to making music, getting in, recording, working on stuff, networking, whatever it is that it takes. But it does go a long way for any of you guys that like bother to listen. And there's a lot of dope stuff there. So I really feel like a lot of you could get behind it. Like even Rob said, there's even for someone like himself, it's definitely not the standard for music. So whatever. Anyways, enough self-promotion. We have
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
word.
God damn.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid of me. But so like last week we talked about Apex, right? And I've nonstop played that game. So like I mean, granted I haven't played too much in the past couple days. Like yesterday I played quite a bit and then today I was playing a lot. But other than that, again, I've just been really busy. There's a lot of stuff going on. So, and, you know, because of studio time, because setting things up over here, which is actually what I was alluding to before, I've been setting up my own studio here in my house. So I'm able to record and just be a little bit more consistent in that area. But it kind of worked out where I was able to, because of the configuration of everything, I could have this as also a studio for doing these podcasts and, you know, dedicating that time as well. But yeah, so besides that, I've been trying to fit it in as much as possible. And so pretty much now every time that I've been on and Rob's been on and we were able to play anything, we've been playing Apex along with some of our buddies if they're, you know, if they're on, they're playing. But it's really been a lot of me and Rob playing. And so like, I know last week when we talked about it, I kicked it off. We updated you guys on, you know, for maybe some of you that weren't aware, you know, some of the changes they brought to the game and some of our feels on it. So I'm going to say, besides talking so much about the logistics of things and the matter of facts, what are your thoughts on things, Rob? Because I feel like you should kick this off, especially like now that we've had that extra week, we've given it a little bit more
Hmm.
time.
Yeah, what I would say is now that I've had a little more time with it to reacquaint myself with the game, I would say, you know, all the pros and cons that I brought up last week are still they still apply. But I would say as you have more time with the game, you're going to notice more, pick up on more stuff. So I would say for myself, one thing that I am noticing as a negative, let's start off with a con. So actually yesterday we played Apex for a couple hours. Our buddy Chris played with us. That pretty much my experience and my buddy Chris's experience, not so much you kind of just play good at no matter what game it is. It could be Apex, it could be Call of Duty, whatever the hell it is. You're going to have a better time than anybody else because you're doing good. But for the rest of us, like we're doing a ton of damage and it just almost always feels like nobody's ever going down. So I would say you run into that a little bit more than you run into it with Warzone. Like in Warzone, like if you're firing on somebody for a long period of time, they're going to go down. Like in this game, it feels there are definitely moments where you're like, how the heck is that guy not down? Or you feel like, oh, wow, I just went down in like 2 bullets. So that's one con. And that might not even be a legitimate con. That just might be my experience. I mean, there are so many different armor levels. Like once you get that red armor, it is very tough to put somebody down. I mean, they take a lot of hits. But another con that I would say for the game is that now that I'm playing it longer, there are definitely moments where on these maps, they're pretty sizable maps, but you run into times where you're just running around, you don't see anybody for a long period of time. And granted, dude, I'm not saying that doesn't happen in other games. Let's talk about Warzone again. Verdansk specifically, you're going to run into that constantly where you're running around, you don't see anybody. But my first like week or so with the game, I wasn't feeling that as much. But now that I've had more time with it, that definitely happens more often. Another thing that I would say is, so when we play duos, I think we have more fun. I think because it's just you and I, we can kind of focus on what we're doing. You do get third party, so you do get attacked. Like let's say you're in a firefight with one team, you do have people running back at you, another team, and maybe you're getting attacked by more people. But I think that having the 2v2 is a little bit less hectic than when you have the trios, because in trios, you kind of feel like it's a little more chaotic. And like there'll be games where you, I, and Chris we're all playing, and it's like you kind of, you're always the aggressive guy, so you kind of run in, and then by the time me and Chris can even get close to you, you get down, and then we're trying to go help you, but then it's just like one guy goes down, another guy goes down, another guy goes down. Whereas that doesn't happen as often in duos because I think it's just easier when it's just two people to just be like, okay, let's stick together. There might be moments where you kind of separate, but in trios, it just adds another person. So there's another element of separating. So those are some cons. I would say, let me throw it back to you instead of me kind of just going on for the next 5 minutes. So maybe we'll cover some cons. So now that you've had longer with the game, give me some cons to like some things that you don't like about the game now that you've had more time with it.
Okay, so the one thing that stands out to me the most, and it's not it's not something that's happened to me a lot. It actually, before I say anything, I'll give context here. Okay, so about a week and a half ago, I want to say, a little bit under 2 weeks, whatever. I was playing, and I was playing with I think I was actually playing with you, and I was playing with Nick. But so I remember Nick saying something about there was this glitch in the game where you could pretty much, it's kind of like nuking lobbies in COD, like rack up lobbies where like you would purposely matchmake at the same time under the same parameters, and you'd land yourself in the same game.
Oh, we may have run into this today.
So yeah, so that's gonna be my con, because so we played today actually earlier prior to the video, and we were dominating. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, top to bottom, the entire game, start to finish too, it was all action. Like, it was one team after another, after another, and just absolutely like every team, whatever, just killing it. Then we get to the end game, and there's one team, and we run into them, and we're firing, and we're playing on World's Edge. And for any of you that are familiar with the map, we were in, I don't know which, there's like two separate cities in World's Edge, right? And so there's this one city where there's the parking lot that everybody goes to, in that broken building that has the crazy loot inside of it, and then there's that other city. So we were in the first city with the broken down stuff in the parking lot, and so we're in that one part, and believe me all you want, go ahead in the comments, say I'm a fucking scrub. You're right. I have no map familiarity. I know how things are designed, and I'm familiar in that sense. I just don't know the names of areas like that. Anyways, point is, we're in that area. It's the last circle. Excuse me. And we get we get to the end, and we start fighting this team, right? And so then they run off they start running away. We chase them down. We find them again. We start beaming these kids. So now they're like backing off onto cover. Like they reposition, whatever. And we notice that there's a team right behind them shooting us as well. But they're not shooting them, even though they're in perfect view. So I'm like, wait a second. This doesn't make sense. And then you actually were like, yo, I think
I vocally said it. Yeah, you must have thought it, but I actually said it. I'm like, dude, they're not even firing at them. And I'm like, what? Because they're right in their line of sight. Like, it was literally like, so imagine us, we're kind of at the bottom of, let's say, a hill. There's buildings all over, and there's like a broken down thing you were talking about. There's almost like a tunnel you can walk through, and it's all busted up, and there's lava around it. And in the distance, there's a building, and there's a sniper on the building. And in front of him, between that sniper and us, is two other guys, and they're all shooting at us. And that's when it kind of clicked. I guess we probably noticed it around the same time. It's like, wait, these guys are working together. What the heck is going on? And we're doing duos. So it's very clear to see that, like, if there's more than two people working together, like they're working together. Like, it's not trios. It's not a different game mode. It's literally two people. So it's very easy to spot.
Yeah, and actually, so by the end of it, there was actually, so all of them came out. Once they put us down, I had a gold knockdown shield. So, I'm getting like it unstable, so sorry about that, guys, if I'm a little choppy. But, freeze frame. But, yo, imagine if life was like that. You're like,
be painful. It's like, I got a crink. Oof.
So we're at the end, and now, so they knocked us, and I had a gold knockdown shield. And for all of you that don't know, the gold knockdown you can self-res with. So I'm down, and so now we're both down. Rob's down in the building. I'm down. I guess they realized that I had self-res. So 3 of the 4 of them come up to me and unibeam me. Like literally all 3 of them are just firing on me while I was on the ground. So I was like, it's just like shit like that. I feel like
Yeah.
that's a huge bummer, especially when you're having a really good game. And like, to be
Well, the
fair,
only thing I would say though is like that can happen in any game. And that's not necessarily something that you can really say is a con of the game. That's just something that people can do, right?
well, but when it's a direct glitch, that like people are aware of and obviously
But
exploiting
that's not
that.
really a glitch, is it? I mean, that's just
Yeah,
people
no,
queuing at
that's
the same time to get in the same
mm,
game. Like, how would they prevent that?
I mean,
You know what I
I guess
mean?
there's ways though, because I mean, I've never really run into that in COD. Like in the early days, maybe, but like, because
Hmm.
I remember in playing Blackout specifically, I had that happen a couple times early on. But then,
Hmm.
like in Warzone, I've never had that happen to me. Like I've had people ignore people because they thought we were an easier shot. I get that, but they end up ultimately attacking each other. I've never had teams literally work with one another and
Yeah.
just completely neglect one another and then just fire on us. I've never actually had that happen. So that's one. But yeah, I don't know, like that to me, considering it is something that people are aware of, and now that I've gotten to see it with my own eyes and seen that people exploit it, it's kind of ridiculous. I just feel like, think about it, you're playing a game, you're putting up a ton of kills, you're doing well, and then you get to the end game and I have to worry that, god forbid, the last 2 teams are working in unison. Like it's a whole lot. I just feel like that takes away from the fun of the game. So I'll leave that as a con. But I think that's definitely like the bigger thing for me. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about the game, and that's maybe because I'm so enthralled right now. I think the experience has been
Hmm.
really good for me, and I've had like a ton of fun with it. I think honestly, in terms of the games that are out right now, battle royale wise, it's one of the most satisfying things to get it down in that game. Like over a lot of
Yeah.
games, like I feel like when you get it down in that game, it means, and to put up like 7 kills in that game is like putting up 14 in Call of Duty. Like it's so much harder. It is, and you're not wrong when you say it's harder to put people down. It is, because typically fights last longer. People are able to shield quicker, get behind cover, and because of all of the different abilities, people can get in and out of fights. But I like that. I think that having longer, more drawn out battles with you know ample dynamic, or dynamics to the fight, I think it makes for a better experience in my opinion. But
Hmm.
that's why it's even that much better when you do get it down or when you just melt a team. It's like that, there's nothing beats that. It's just such a good feeling. um and I will say, like, it's definitely not easy, and it's not for everybody. Like one of our buddies, Chris, who he's been playing with us. He's big into Warzone. Not that he's by far the best player or anything, but he can pull his own, so to speak. And he's been struggling quite a bit, and I've seen a lot of people have that same experience in Apex over a lot of other games, where it's like, Apex is kind of its own thing, so people can't get as behind it, or like as quickly, um,
Yeah.
because like everything's a little bit different, and like just also the idea that everything's loot based, and like it's similar to Fortnite, where like anything you find is what you have. It's not Call of Duty where you can customize and create something. I mean, besides the loadout, I'm sorry, besides the character abilities, there's no loadout. You can bypass um, certain like elements by using certain characters, like characters with quicker accessibility. Or if you use Loba, she has a great ultimate. You can access a ton of loot at one time, so you can kind of have a customization feature, which is cool. But more or less, it's definitely a different game, and I've taken a lot away from it, but I have a lot of pros. So before I go into the pros, I'm going to flip it back. You start with what is like, let's start actually least to greatest. Let's give 2 pros each. We'll keep it simple for you guys. What is your second favorite thing, and what is your first favorite thing pro wise about the game?
For me, I would say the characters. Actually, no, that's probably my first. So second, I would say the map. The maps are all pretty well designed. There's 3 maps, so there's always diversity. You don't feel like you're playing the same experience over and over again. They're all well designed. I think I said it in the last episode. It's not like I'm playing on any map and I'm like, oh, I don't like this map. Like they're all good. I mean, maybe other people disagree. Let us know if you disagree, and maybe there are maps you don't like. But I think they're all good from the first one to the latest one. I don't even know the names of them, but I would say that would be my second. My first favorite thing is the characters. They're all pretty well designed. Yes, there are some kind of redundant characters and in terms of like, oh, this guy's really defensive or this guy's really, more offensive or so there's you run into that same problem you might have with like a Super Smash Brothers. Once you cross over a certain amount of characters, there's definitely going to be some similarities, but they are all definitely different enough. And what's cool about it is you'll kind of, again, like Super Smash Brothers, you'll have a roster of characters that you want to play as. And again, depending on whether you're playing as duos or trios, you might want to swap out whatever character you would normally play, or your mood, maybe depending on your mood. So I've kind of recently went back to using Fuse. I kind of played with him for a few days. I was kind of having fun, but then I kind of was like, nah, I'm going back to Caustic. And I played for Caustic up until maybe 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I started playing Fuse again. And I've actually been playing a lot better as Fuse because using that LB grenade, whatever that grenade's called, I've been using that and just, yeah, and it comes back so quick. So like you could just kind of keep using that. And like, let's say you had a bad drop, you don't have a good weapon. It's a good way of like deterring enemies and fighting them away from you. And you even have a little bit of an offensive weapon right from the clip, which is useful. His ultimate is not bad, but it's definitely, I feel like honestly, his what's the grenade called?
The knuckle cluster.
Yeah, knuckle cluster. That thing it's all about the knuckle cluster for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, characters. Really good characters. So really good map, really good characters. So I would say for someone, let's say you're coming from a different battle royale, you're coming from Warzone or something. I will tell you right now, the aim assist, I'm sure there is some sort of aim assist, but I would almost say it feels like there is not aim assist. So it's minimized enough that like I literally feel like there are times where it doesn't exist. Like you really need to aim well. You got to hit your shots. Like it is not the same as Warzone. Like Warzone, you can kind of almost lock on if someone's pretty close to you. You're not going to have that experience here. So that could be a pro or a con depending on your preference. I would say skill-wise, it's obviously probably a preferred thing. It's better. It's going to take more skill, but not every. The other thing I would say is that it depends on your mood. Like let's say you only have a half hour to play. Maybe I hop on Warzone and I go do Rebirth Island, and for that half hour, I'm going to get more laughs and more fun moments than I might have in a half hour with Apex. It depends. It definitely depends. But give me your two. So, what are your two favorite things, or your two pros?
I'd say so the second favorite thing, my lesser of the two, is probably see, it's hard because I know my number one is easy, but I'm gonna actually go with weapon balancing. So here's the thing about this game that makes it a lot different than a lot of other games, and I did state this in the last video, but this is very true. So with this game in particular, it's very, very easy to pick up a weapon and be good with it. And I don't mean that. Let me rephrase that. It's not easy, but every gun is capable. That's a better way of wording it. Every gun is capable of being very viable. So all of the guns, and there's good diversity too. Like there's like a ton of there's a submachine gun that's a burst fire weapon. There's a standard AR that runs on light ammo. There's a ton of really good LMGs that don't limit your mobility that much. There's sniper rifles. There's a bow and arrow. There's so many things that make this game, or make there's so many things that make the guns in this game really good and diverse. And I think the thing is when you pick, because there's so much diversity in that sense, there's so many different guns, you can pick up something and really get a rhythm going and be good with a gun that maybe by meta standards is not the best. Because in all things, as much as I can sit here and I can say the game's like really balanced and this and that, there are guns that definitely shine or are more common picks because of the usability of them, right? I mean, the R301 carbine is probably the most commonly used gun in the game, and for good reason. It's very accurate, good mag size, does damage, it hits over range, good bullet velocity, not bad damage drop off. There's a lot of good things going on for that gun. But there's also a lot of guns that by standard would not be as good, and they'd still put in fucking work. So it's really just about preference and what you're into. And I think what I like about the game and why my second is the guns and why it pertains so much to liking the game there's because of the fact that there's this optionality and you can get behind a weapon and get like use it and make it good. It makes for this just really unique experience every time you drop it on a map. And like I actually have had so much fun with the game and have so much fun using all these different weapons that I've actually had a hard time deciding what guns I'm actually going to pick up because I find
Hmm.
everything. I find a Rampage, I find a
Like
3030.
everything has its place. You're like, oh, if I pick up a Havoc or an L Star, or I pick up a, even let's say a Wingman or a G7 Scout, like you're like, I can make this work. And
Yeah,
then it kind of depends on what loot you're finding on the map. That's probably going to dictate what you go with that game.
yeah. So and
You
then
know.
I would say so besides that, I'd say my number one would probably be the characters as well, but specifically the abilities. And I know it's like, well, it kind of makes the character. I get that, but yes and no, because characters, their abilities, or let me again rephrase, um, the overall kit. Because here's the thing, right? You can really get behind a character, and then let's say you have like a primary, a secondary, and a tertiary character that you like to get behind, and maybe even extends past that. Maybe there's a fourth character you really really like. I'm not, I usually stick to three. Usually speaking, it's Lifeline, Wraith, and I kind of alternate between Caustic and maybe Valk, and then or I'm sorry, Bloodhound. So,
Mhm.
um, anyways, yeah. I mean, so the main thing is, besides just the abilities, though, they all these, well, most of them, I'm not sure if all of them do, but they have passive skills as well. So Caustic and Gibraltar, they reduce damage by 15%. Uh, Wraith, she has like pretty much, she has, what is it, high alert, so she'll tell you if someone's aiming at you and you don't see them. Um, Bangalore can run faster if she gets shot at. That's not something. All these things are not things that you have to activate. They're things that just come equipped with the character. Like Fuse can stack grenades, which is a very very useful thing in that game. Like grenades are so key in that game. I can't stress it enough. If you're playing and want to play on like a high level or play competitively in any way, you need to pack grenades with you always. It's
Mm.
it's one of the most important things to have in that game, no matter which character you're running. Um, but yeah, there's like so many cool things. I mean, I think again, based on what also too, like what your teammates are going with. Like if you're playing duos, like with me and Rob, usually I'll stick to Wraith. He'll use Fuse, or he'll use Caustic, and I'll use Lifeline or something. Usually those are like where we bounce around. But in trios, it's like I can almost extend past those three main characters, those three to four. I can start picking different people based on the team composition, because like that's another thing. Like this is one of those games that is very important. So in League of Legends, they're going to tell you like team comp is everything. People that bounce well off of each other, that have good balance, that can create some kind of system, to help better your strategy. And it's the same thing, picking characters that bounce well off each other and make a good team comp. But it also, because of that, it makes the game a lot more fun, because you're not just stuck to the same shit and it's just usable no matter what. I mean, yeah, you can use anybody and be good, sure, if you're really good, but it's a lot of it's based on what are the other people running, what do I want to run to bounce off of. But yeah, I'd say definitely, I definitely agree, man. Characters, unique abilities and traits and stuff, that really makes the game. It's everything.
Yeah, man, no, it's good. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't really know what's on the horizon. I don't know, have they announced like is there a new map, new characters, like what's coming next? I don't know. I'll be honest, I'm pretty ignorant on it, but yeah, man, I'm very happy with the game. I'm having a good time with it. Don't get me wrong, it's still kind of nice to like maybe throw Rebirth on or get a couple games of Verdansk in there every now and again. But yeah, I've been loving it. One thing I'll bring up quickly too, and maybe this is something we could talk about in the next episode, depending on what happens this weekend. But I guess this is the last weekend for the Halo Infinite beta. So I think it starts Friday and ends Sunday. And now they opened it up to so they had this kind of weird process where you had to go on Halo Insider, like register for it. Then on your Xbox, go into the Xbox Insider app to download the beta. Now, I guess if you go into that Xbox, and just so you know, Troy, if you download that Xbox Insider app, you will be able to download the Halo Infinite beta for this weekend. I think Friday it starts. You don't have to be invited. You had to be invited before. Now you don't. So you can just download it right through that Xbox Insider and you can play it. So real quick, I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. I don't want to make the episode too long, but I played last weekend. I did not play a lot. And my experience was literally me playing by myself. So normally when I play Halo, I'm always playing with people. I'm always playing with my friends. So the experience of playing by myself was definitely not a, appealing process for me, playing literally with a bunch of random people. But I will give you my opinions on the few games that I played. I honestly did not play too long, but all the maps seemed good. The graphics, the gameplay felt good. One thing I was a little bit disappointed about was Halo 5. Did you play a lot of Halo 5 or not really?
Not too much. I played some though. I definitely played it. Yeah.
So in Halo, so for anybody who's like a Halo fan, we all know like Halo 1, 2, 3, there was no sprint. So you were kind of just used to that. Halo does not have sprint. Obviously, when other games came onto the block, like Call of Duty, sprint became the new normal. So when you had Halo, I think it was Halo 3 ODST did not have it either. I think Halo Reach introduced it, but it was an armor ability. So Halo Reach had armor abilities. There was like a ground and pound thing. There was armor lock. There was sprint. There was a jetpack. So it was an armor ability that you would either spawn with or pick up on the map. It wasn't something that you had passively. Then when Halo 4 came around, they added sprint. So Halo 4 had sprint. And then Halo 5 obviously had sprint, but they introduced a bunch of new mechanics. So they had a thing called clamber. So instead of the normal just jumping, everybody knows in Halo where you hop, you just hit A and you jump. They introduced the thing where now you can like climb over terrain. So you can almost step over stuff. So like if you saw a ledge that looked like you can climb up, you would be able to climb up it. So when you hit A on it, you kind of automatically, your character would climb up the cover, which was a really good thing. They kept clamber in for this Halo Infinite beta. What they did remove, another thing they added into Halo 5 that I loved, was the thing they called boost. So essentially boost was, let's say sprint, again, you have sprint, you have clamber. These are all passive things that you just start off with. It's not an ability in Halo 5. There was another thing called boost, which essentially was like you could hit, what button is it? Might be B. I can't remember what button it is, but you can literally boost, let's say left, right, forward, backwards. So like, let's say you're in a gunfight and you time it perfectly. Like, let's say you're about to die. Your armor went down and you're about to die. The guy in front of you is fighting you. You can hit that boost left, dodge him, and then try to get that last shot on him and kill him. So that boost really was something that I love that they added into Halo 5, which sadly is not in Halo Infinite. So for playing Halo Infinite,
there's no sprint in Halo Infinite.
There is sprint. So sprint, like since Halo 4, sprint is in every Halo game now.
But it's in. Okay.
Yeah, it's in. Okay. So yeah, maybe I wasn't describing that well.
That's bad.
So yeah, Halo 4, we got sprint. Everybody has sprint. Halo 5, we got sprint, we got clamber, and we got boost. Now with Halo Infinite, we have our sprint, we have our clamber, we can crawl over cover, climb up things. But for some reason, they removed boost. And maybe for a lot of people, you didn't like it or you don't think it's a big deal. For me, I definitely really liked that. I thought Halo 5 had great gameplay. I've been playing it recently, Halo 5, having a good time. Actually, me and Chris were playing it, a lot of big team battle. That's one of my disappointing things about the game, but I would say gameplay feels top-notch. The maps feel great. The weapon placement on the map, again, for anybody that's not familiar, Halo is not a game where you spawn in with a loadout. It's a game where you got to earn those weapons. If you want a good weapon, you got to go to the spot it is on the map and fight for that damn thing if you want it. And that's what I love about Halo. And there's also armor. So it's not like Call of Duty. You don't just run up to someone, shoot them, and they die. You got to break their armor, get their shield down. Now you can kill them. So kind of like what we spoke about with Apex, where it takes a little more effort and a little more skill to, take somebody down. Halo's always had that as well. Another thing, segue, Gears of War. That's why I always like Gears of War, because you didn't just kill somebody. You didn't shoot them and they drop dead. You down them. So there's an opportunity for that person in Gears of War to maybe crawl away and their teammate can revive them, but you got to finish them off. It takes a little bit more effort. Halo, same thing. Now there's no downing in Halo. Let's say that downing is like getting the armor down. So you got to break that shield and now you can kill them. That little element I like, man. It adds more competitiveness. It adds more skill. Again, the maps, you got to earn those weapons. You don't spawn with them. But everything I played, I liked. It feels good. It's a nice change of pace from playing a battle royale. It's nice playing a competitive team-based game. The mode I was playing, and I think that's all they've had so far, was 4v4, so like, Team Slayer. I think this weekend it's going to be big team battle. So we're going to have 8v8, so it's going to be 16. I'm assuming they're going to have new maps. So we played 3 maps in the beta. There's no way they're going to have big team battle on those maps because they're so small. So I'm assuming we're getting new maps to play too with the beta. So let us know what you think. If you played the beta, did you like it? Do you agree with what I just said? Were you happy to see Boost go, or do you miss it like I do? Give us your opinions, and then also let us know. So by the time this video comes out, honestly, the weekend will have probably passed. So you'll probably have gotten a chance to play Big Team Battle. You'll have gotten the chance to play the last weekend of the beta, because this is the last weekend before the game comes out. It comes out in December sometime. But yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know about Apex. Let us know about Halo Infinite. And Troy, hopefully, so Saturday, me and this guy, pointing the wrong way, we're supposed to go to an Oktoberfest down in Tuckahoe, so that'll be a good time. Maybe we'll do some Beers and Boss Battles posts or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But hopefully, besides that, we get some Halo Infinite time, either Friday or Sunday maybe, or early Saturday maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So we'll try to get that, and then assuming we can get that time in and get some time at the beta and really get into it, we'll cover that in our next video. Until then, obviously, we hope you guys are drinking good beer, playing good games. Again, if you haven't done it already, go down, hit that like and subscribe, leave some comments for us, let us know what you guys thought, and we will catch you guys in the next video.